Thank you so much, and thanks for having me here. So, my name is Nikita, and formerly I worked on database technology at world-class companies. Also, I want to mention that we have a fantastic partner here in Israel, Twingo. And if you're interested to learn more about how we work with some of the most innovative Israeli companies together, feel free to find us at the MemSQL and Twingo booth just outside those doors. But today, I want to talk about the demands of ML and AI data infrastructure. So certainly the promise is very big, right? Here in Israel, there's probably 1,500 people in the conference. And we're talking about AI and ML, and we're certainly exposed to that, right? With our watches taking EKG and driving some insights. I can't be more excited about all the innovation that's coming in retail, in healthcare, in transport and logistics. On the other hand, the investment into AI, as we already talked about on this stage, is very, very strong, right? It keeps increasing over time. As you heard, US and China are leading the world in terms of the amount of those investments. A lot of world-class companies and CIOs are expecting AI investments to pay off in the next 12 months. So with all that, and with all that excitement, and with all that value that we're seeing every day interacting with data services, healthcare, gadgets, the data challenges remain. And only 15% of the organizations have the right architecture and the right data infrastructure for AI. And only 8% of all systems are accessible to AI workflows. And we see this all the time. If you walk into a major organization, data is siloed. It's locked into databases, SaaS services, data warehouses. And as a data scientist walking in, data management becomes kind of one of the first challenges that you need to solve, because your AI programs and your AI technology is only as good as the data that is flowing in. So now Databricks says the majority of AI projects have challenges moving from concept into production. And we're going to talk about that as well. And when people start AI projects, it takes about 6 months to go in from concept to production. So what causes those delays? So typically, AI workflow is a multi-step workflow. I recently was talking to one of the San Francisco startups called Affirm that is giving you real-time loans. And they certainly walked me through exactly the same flow, where you need to define ML use cases, do some data explorations, choose the algorithms that you're going to implement, and then work on the data pipelines and data engineering projects. From there, you build ML models, you put them in production, but that loop kind of continues, and then you go from back to kind of square one as you refine and make those models better, stronger, and more efficient. Now, what they told me at Affirm is that it's very easy to screw up, right? It's very easy to mess up, for example, feature engineering, and then as you put models into production, the features that you thought you were extracting in production may be different from the features you extracted with historical data. And then when this mismatch happens, you basically get random results. Now, once you apply random results to issuing loans, you may lose millions and millions of dollars, basically almost instantaneously. And that's what, in fact, had happened at Affirm as they perfected their pipeline, and they put immense amount of engineering to make that pipeline very efficient. So now, MemSQL can simplify and accelerate a lot of the steps in the ML lifecycle, and we're doing this from the data management standpoint. So let me very quickly fill you in on what MemSQL actually is. So MemSQL is a database that's built for operational data at scale, right? what people use it for is, first and foremost, modernize big data workloads. So big data there's a lot of tools now for big data. Some of them are old, some of them are new. And we're certainly taking a cloud-native approach towards big data. The second one is new application development. And here in Israel and back home in the United States and everywhere in the world, we'll let people build next-generation applications which have intelligence built in, which have analytics built in into the app. And analytics is stop becoming this back office type process. We bring it into operational data, we bring it into applications. And finally, we operationalizing predictive AI and ML, and MemSQL becoming kind of the data backbone of the whole process. So those are the things that MemSQL replaces, and I only bring it up on the slides to kind of anchor everybody on what the technology really is, right? So it's a modern cloud-native database, and obviously what it replaces is old-school legacy databases. And the way MemSQL is built, it plugs into modern applications and plugs into modern workflows, of which AI is a major workflow, a lot better than old-school technology. So let me show a few examples of what people actually do once they build AI and ML workflows on top of MemSQL. Let me see. So one of the startups built this very nifty program that allows you to point a smartphone at anything, press a button, and it immediately finds that object in their catalog, right? And it's just literally moving the smartphone around, and it instantly identifies and performs image recognition in real time. And as you do that image recognition, you go and talk to MemSQL and find all the objects that are stored in the database that look similar to the objects that you see on the camera. So here's an example of that. You point at the smartphone, and at the bottom, it just finds those things in the catalog. Next slide. Let me see. MemSQL works with Uber. And with Uber, we have real-time information about all the rides that are happening in the world. And neighborhood by neighborhood, you understand exactly what the current state is, where the cars are, where the drivers are, where the riders are. And that allows us to not only understand kind of business KPIs, and what's happening with the business. For example, Lyft is running a promotion, and then Uber knows about this instantly based on their own data. But it allows you, like we talked about earlier on this stage, to close the loop and automate the loop and remove a person looking at dashboards from the workflow and make the system completely automatic. And that's what an operational system allows you to do. So you can go from analytics to pixels, from analytics into an app instantaneously and with an automatic workflow. We're working with top US banks on fraud, which is another very, very typical example of using MemSQL. And fraud needs to be detected these days in real time. You swipe a credit card, and you want to reject that credit card transaction in the transaction. And so for that, you need to have a very performant, very efficient data backbone. And I would love to talk to you more about it. I'm running out of time. But please find me at the booth. I'll be there from this point on. And then I have another session coming up at, I believe, 11:30. And I'll be happy to go and dive deeper and explain what people do exactly and specifically with our technology to build those cool applications. Thank you.